Hello everyone, and welcome to The Man Behind the Curtain. I'm Randy Young, you know, the guy in the red shoes, and I've been in the video production business my entire career, and it's taken me around the world a few times. But more importantly, I've had the opportunity to work with some of the most creative people in television, and boy do they have stories to tell about the business and the people who make it happen. We've always been told, ignore the man behind the curtain, but you can talk to me. Okay, let's get started. I'm sitting here with my good friend Jen Paschall. She's a production stage manager. She's going to tell us all about being a production stage manager. Hi, Jen.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So, first question I like to start with everybody. Where did you get started and why?
It's a good question. Why? No, I took an elective in college, theater. Never expected to do any of this. Fell in love with it, changed my major. My dad was a bit shocked. I was looking at arbitrary law, and I came home and said, I think I want to do theater. So I did that, and then fast forward, after my degree, I went to Chicago thinking I would do theater, stage managing shows there. I met a good friend of ours in the business, and she said, we need production, theatrical stage managers and corporate. I'm like, what's corporate? Because no one knows what that is. And so
I get a lot of that. What's corporate?
Right.
We're going to talk about that a little later.
Yeah. So I was like, well, anyway, I was there to do theater. And if you know, theater pays by the week and not much. Back then,
Right.
96, 97 is when it was.
I'm not sure it pays any more now.
Right, who knows, yeah. But so she told me a day rate, or she told me a rate and said, hey, just be my assistant a couple of days. And I thought, fine. I assisted her for like 3 days. She told me the rate at the beginning of it, and I was like, that's pretty good for the week. And she's like, no, that's a day rate. And I was like, oh, I can afford theater. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. I thought it would be boring, because who wants to go to a meeting when you come from this theatrical life, right? So I showed up, production meeting, learned all about it with, the job was Ronald McDonald House of Charities, which was really a cool job to start my career.
Sure.
It was really awesome, but it was Garth Brooks and Betty Ford were there. And so I was backstage, cueing them on, and I was
Hobnobbing with the big wigs.
Yeah, so that was my first one, and that was in 1997.
Okay.
Yeah, so I stayed.
You stayed in it.
Never left.
All right, so let's talk about the difference, theater and corporate.
Yeah.
What was the big difference that you found?
Well, since I wasn't one of the ones who actually, I did theater like in Austin, because I'm from Texas, and so I did a little theater in Austin, and in college, that when I went to Chicago, I had an interview to do Ragtime, which was off Broadway coming to town. I had an interview, and then I had a second interview set up, and I never went because Melinda's like, hey, be my ASM, assistant stage manager at the time. So I can't tell you what the difference is between all my good friends who come from Broadway, but I can tell you, being trained in it and doing a couple, other city events, you have a production book in stage managing. You have weeks and weeks and weeks to look through it. You have that on the back side of the script. We have the drawing, because we drew our blocking.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't get that in corporate. You just show up and they give it to you, and actually I like it much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying you have to think on your feet a little more?
Yes, and you have to have a plan B at all times in the back of your head with the team, and a plan C always in your pocket.
Well, the problem, and I've talked to others about it, is that we get one shot at it. In a theater, you're going to rehearse and rehearse and rehearse.
Exactly.
And you're going to do it until you get it right, until it's comfortable, until all the scenery works, the actors know their cues, they know their lines, and then you run with it for months, however long it takes, 7 times a week, right? We get one shot, right?
Yep, exactly. And I like the fact that we have this prompter and these people who read it, and then you follow along, and if they mess up, you just gotta, go ahead. If you mess up, we just gotta go ahead. That's how it works, Pick up and go.
Let me explain. Yeah. We're in Orlando doing a show right now, and we're out here by the pool, so if you're hearing a lot of extraneous noise and Latin music playing in the background, it's the environment, so it's kind of fun out here.
It is. It's
much
nice.
better.
Outside the ballroom.
Outside the ballroom is the key.
Exactly.
All right, so what do you feel is the most rewarding part of your job?
Oh, the team I work with when we finish it, because we come together, anywhere from 3 to 6 days on a job, and we all work with professionals, but we all stay in our lane and help the other ones out if we need to help each other out. At the end of it, the most rewarding you asked? Yeah, the most rewarding thing is being finishing up, wrapping it up, and thinking, damn, we did this, It's a great team.
Is that how you define success in the show?
Success to me is happiness. The client's happy, my producer's happy. We did our job.
So let's talk about producers.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to name names. We all have favorites. We all have not so much favorites. We all have the choice whether to work with them or not. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the best thing that we have going for us. But you're inevitably going to run into differences of opinion, creative opinion, production opinions. How do you approach that? How do you manage that?
And I know we're all different, but I personally show up to a job knowing that a producer has been working on this for 3 months to 12 months. It's their baby. So when they hand it over to me, I say it all the time, I'm executing their plan. So even if I have an idea, it depends on the relationship I have with them, if they ask for it, or if they're very specific, they don't want my opinion. It's their show. I mean, I literally am just driving the car for them to get them success for their client, to eventually do it again, to bring me back. I'm there for the crew to make sure the crew is doing what they need to do.
So, say a producer comes to you and says they want to do X, Y, Z, and you know that Z, Y, X is a better way to do it.
Well, I would just give my opinion. I said, well, I've done this before, or this is why this works. I give my opinion and the reason why, not just because I want to, be in charge. Mm-hmm. Here's why I think this would work. Half of the time they say, okay, great. Other times they're like, yeah, no, but the client wants this. I'm like, all right, that's cool, absolutely. And then just smile when my way would have worked better. I'm just kidding.
So what about when those times are coming and you see a producer going off the rails? Is it your job to save them?
It's very rare, though. We have good ones. The bad ones weed themselves out of this business.
Oh, I think you're very right about that. They don't stay around.
Right, which is why I love what I do, because we're with great people.
I think we've both been doing it long enough to be able to figure out who the good people are,
right, and
who are the people to stay away from or to avoid.
Right, right, yeah.
I mean, it's not that difficult to figure that out, and leave it to somebody else to do those gigs.
You can have that one.
Yeah. So tell me something about your personality that you bring to the job. What's your plus factor?
Well, I know for a fact I'm positive. I'm positive. If I find myself too negative on a job, then I know it's not for me. That specific team or that producer.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you get to pick your own team?
No. Well, my assistant stage manager or deck manager, right, I can pick them sometimes if I'm asked, or if they say I have this one. I mean, ideally, I want to pick them 100% of the time.
Sure.
Sometimes I come into a program where it's been I'm adopted into the program that's been going on for a while, so I'm not necessarily in the position to pick my own. However, I tend to, if a project happens after the fact that I'm not comfortable with someone and the producer likes me, then I definitely give them my opinion with concrete reasons why.
Sure.
Nothing's ever personal about it. A personality, it's about the job they do. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your satisfaction.
Okay.
When you finish a show, is one of your grades of success your satisfaction with the job you did and with the performance of the show and the performance of the people who report directly to you? You got a big crew.
Absolutely. You have that second guess feeling. We all have it.
Sure.
If I have too many of those on a job, I beat myself up. So I have to know that A, I'm human. B, the audience probably doesn't see the minute mistake that maybe I made. But I think the great thing about the crews that I have become accustomed to working with because we've been doing it so long, we've got each other's back. I mean, we really do.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I, screw something up, someone's picked it up so quick. I mean, I can't say it enough. It's the team you're with that makes you good. So it's very rare that we have mistakes, unless it's a personal cue that I called too soon or whatever. Sometimes someone will hold off, like audio, they'll hold off and not hit it when they're supposed to. I'm the first person to say thank you to that person by name on headset, because the producer needs to know they get the acclamation for it. I'm not here to take anyone's what?
Livelihood.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take it away from anybody. I get plenty.
Your producers will talk to you about people on the crew that and want your report, your opinion, your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And they do ask sometimes, or sometimes they'll say, hey, so let me know what you think about XYZ or someone I'm working with. I'm curious.
Does that happen before the show too? Should I hire this person? Should I? I'm thinking about this audio person.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some producers have said, hey, have you worked with this audio guy? Because my first choice is not available. Have you worked with this one before?
Okay. Well, that's great. What about
the directors?
I think I first met you when you were just starting as well, a long time ago, with our mutual friend Melinda.
Yes.
Who I'm going to get to interview some point in time.
Yay.
And you were young and starting out. If
I'm still
your counterpart, if your counterpart today, who's that age, would you encourage them to get into this crazy world?
Yes, I would.
Why?
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. It is the greatest. Matter of fact, I will do this until I can't speak because I have to call cues. But when I'm in a wheelchair, build me a ramp, roll me up there. As long as my brain is there. But because I love it.
Well, I guess my point is we're not seeing a lot of people like you when I first met you. We're not seeing a lot of young people coming into this business. It's very hard. They want the shiny lights of Broadway, or in my position in video, they want the excitement of sports or the prestige of it, or the perceived prestige of it. And they look at our business and they wonder, like you said, I don't want to go to a meeting.
Right.
How do you convince them not to think that way, but to come to this side?
Well, and actually, interesting enough, there are some young girls I've known that are growing up that are graduating from college right now. One's media, one's this, and a couple of different ones. They're interested. I know a professor at a college. She's the dean of a theater department, and she's like, anytime you need a PA in this area, whatever, we have people who would love to know more about the business. So I think they're out there. I just don't think we know them, and they don't know how to get into it. So we're not talking to each other. You know what I mean? So
it's a unpublicized little business.
It is, absolutely. But you have to have, if you want to have a family, but that's a whole other thing, but if you want to have a family, I think that you have to have a good support system at home, because we're on the road a lot, so there's that too. So do people want to, it depends on what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. So work-life balance.
Yeah. That word balance is funny.
What are some of the crazy ones you've come across?
I think when you realize that you take that theatrical brain thought and think, the show must go on. Literally, the show must go on. We're not just doing this for fun audiences. We're doing it for paid corporate companies who demand a lot out of us. So I think when you start seeing the rails, when the train's going off the track, you're going, oh shit, we got to pull it together.
Right.
There's no if, it's a must do, it's a when. So with that said, well, like one time I had a job actually. It was at a widescreen. When widescreen was brand new with all the hoopla and all the pretty stuff. It was back in the day where they would have to build it and make that. It wasn't quick and easy like it is now, where you can drop something in, a graphic and art. The client had made changes with people, title slides, like shuffling a lot of stuff around in the 11th hour. And the producer said, well, the show's the next morning. And she made the comment, we need to fix this, we need to change this. And the the guy said, well, it's going to take me a bit. So we sat there, and she said, I can't go in overtime, can't go in turnaround. What are we going to do? I mean, and at that point, you're like, well, here's your choices.
Right.
So the choice we made together was, I sat back, she let the crew go, the E2 at the time, and myself, he was a spider op, and an associate producer, we all stayed behind, and he built it, and I was changing things on the show flow, and he and I teched it by ourselves. We didn't have any screens because screens were sent away.
Right.
I mean,
You can't light them up. Crew's gone.
Nothing. So it was he and I. So he was putting on the multi-view. We have our screen that shows everything goes on from backstage, and so I was looking on that, and we were on the headset to each other, talking it through till 2 in the morning. Totally different show than what we'd been rehearsing for 2 days. Came the next morning. I had a pep talk with the crew, and I said, "Hey, listen up. It is what it is. You got to trust me. I'll give you plenty of warning what we're doing, like plenty of warning. And then when I say the word Geo, just do it." And I mean, it was fine. It was actually, I have to say, a flawless show, which is kind of scary because you don't want the client to think, oh, that's easy. They don't need that much time, because we got lucky.
So, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you on a stage?
The craziest thing, I mean, they all run together. Isn't it one crazy ball of fun? I think that one I told you was most challenging and crazy that we pulled it off. I'm telling you, we literally, I didn't know what was the next page. I had to look and remember. I mean, and that's kind of crazy scary, you know?
It is crazy scary.
But we did it. But I think that'd be.
You were telling me before we sat down something about a tiger animal.
Oh, I have tiger. I have a kangaroo story, but not kangaroo story. This one. Tiger. Okay, so I do
Kangaroo, tiger, koala bear,
Yeah.
whatever you
What
want.
do we got? I got them all. There was a baby tiger. Her name was Star. She was 3 months old, and we got to play with her backstage.
Yeah.
Got to hold on and laugh. She's a precious little, like a very big, heavy dog is what she was. She's probably 120 pounds, 90 pounds, I think. There was a cutoff where you couldn't play with them anymore as just
Sure.
a human hanging out backstage. And so we got to play with her. I just started playing with her, and the handler put her in her, because they have, like two little gullies that they go to get to the main center of the box.
Right.
So it looks like a box with a curtain. So this one was on this side. All of a sudden, that animal just yellow everywhere, baby. I mean, everywhere, everywhere there. So the handler, the backup handler, or his sidekick, his buddy, had to pick him up. We were looking for towels everywhere, cleaning this thing, and it would just not smell good at all. I literally just played with this little kitten, maybe 30 minutes before.
Well, at least she didn't pee on you.
Can you imagine that? It wasn't pee, by the way. It
Oh,
was all yellow.
ooh.
See what I'm saying here? It was baby shit yellow.
Ever. Oh, man.
It was everywhere. So he's wiping it. In the meantime, the magician's on the other side. Open the door. He's like, well, let me try that again, knowing that his guy's in the back, obviously working with this. So something's happening.
And
so
this is the show. This is live, yeah.
So
okay.
he's on the other side, stretching it, because he knows that obviously there's something his guy is working out from the back with us. So they finally get him in, and I don't know if we hit the side, or he made a thud that they did their own little lingo, and then all of a sudden he opened it up. But we were in the back, rolling, laughing. Matter of fact, there are many friends on the show. It was a big show, and that was when I was in the backstage back in the day. It was funny.
So, bad stories.
Okay.
You got any of those?
Bad ones? Well, sure I do.
Well, all right.
I do. See if I can tell this one. I'm trying to see if I can tell it without getting in trouble. No, it's we're big on. We have pyro. We have all kinds of fun stuff.
Sure.
And so part of our story is, if it's not safe, we don't do it. Period. I don't care who you are. And we had a rehearsal with some clients, and a producer asked me to. Only time the clients would come in, they're going to run through a tunnel, and that producer said, we got to do the gerbs, whatever. Pyro was ready. Well, he said, then they were there lining up. Someone kicked something, a can of something, and it was I don't know what it was, but it was a can of soda or something. But by the side, our pyro guy, Firewatch, couldn't see the angle because the guys got in the way. And so pyro said, disarm, not ready. music's going, all this stuff. They're about to run through the tunnel, hit stand by for the gerbs, and I told the producer, I was like, stand by, we can do it without pyro, we can pause and do it with pyro. I mean, this is like in seconds. Let me know what you want to do. And she said, do it, I need pyro. I said, you're not getting pyro, you want us to do the rehearsal with or without pyro? I need the answer now. It's about the people. We've got to be safe, period.
Absolutely.
And if I tell you not to do it when your client's there, obviously there's a reason, you know. So it was kind of bad. So, yeah. I said, I don't think I'll work with that one again.
Well, that's your choice.
Yeah.
So go back in time. Go back to
Okay.
1997.
Okay.
And you get asked to do this job and you're wondering, you know, what's this corporate thing all about? You don't know what it... Knowing what you know today, would you do it all over again?
Oh my gosh, yes. Heartbeat. You don't have to think about that one.
I've had
I
a
would
lot...
have done it earlier. I could have done it sooner, you know.
I have a lot of people that I've talked to who say that the bug struck them early, and it came to you a little later.
Yeah.
But they continue, or they realized early on, and they have continued to do it for years, because it's not just a job; it's a passion.
Yeah.
It's. Do you feel that way?
Absolutely. I love it. As soon as I get on that plane or walk in that airport and I'm alone with my bag, I'm like, I'm giddy. I'm ready to go. Every single time. Every single time. I cannot wait to get there.
I got to tell you, you're one of the most upbeat person I run into on show side. Believe me, it shows.
Yeah.
And that just says to me, we want to do a good job. We want, you know, you just inspire everybody to do a good job. But tell me what the thrill is to keep going. What makes you continue?
Is the money? Can I say that?
Sure you can.
I mean, we get paid a lot.
Money is a motivator.
Money
no
is a
doubt.
motivator. Absolutely. We get paid a lot, but we are expected to do a lot. But I can't imagine being paid this amount to work in a hospital or a lawyer's office or any of that. It's the people. So it's an equation. It's the money, but it's also the people, and it's also, maybe I'm ADHD. Because you know what? I couldn't sit in an office all day, but we start a project, we put it to bed, we're done. You know what I mean? Then we come back and do another one.
Yeah.
And it's the people, because you and I don't see each other all the time. That's what's cool.
Right.
We're one huge family, but 7 of us are on this job, 3 are on that job, and then maybe 2. It's, you know, I say 7, there's really hundreds of us, but it's fun because it's exciting.
You're the main voice on your side of the headsets, and people have to listen to you, but they don't have to. They could just not care.
And I've had some like that who, whether I'm a female, whether it's because they just having a bad day, and
But when I said earlier that you're encouraging, you're motivational on the headset, I think that's one of your key factors, and that's what inspires people to continue to listen, to continue to work the shows for you, to work the problems when the problems happen.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to your personality. I think it speaks to the quality of your work, and I think it speaks to everything about you. And it's motivating. It's motivating for me when I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
And I know that I've got a job to do. To, you know, I've always looked at things that you manage front of house, I manage back of house, but we all come together. And to hear your voice in the headset is always encouraging to me.
So nice.
No, it's just the truth.
But that's a nice compliment, but I appreciate it. But you know what? As a stage manager, you are the one who calls the shows. Everything goes through you. No one does anything until you tell them what to do. But I really think of my position. It's not just, but I feel like every single person has their own. It's my job to tell everyone when they're about to do something. So technically, even though I'm running the show and watching it and seeing it, I'm kind of everyone's assistant because I'm going to tell you what you need to do next or heads up this. So I feel like I'm there for everyone else as equally than I am for. Does that make sense? Kind of.
I think it makes sense. I understand it because I'm an
AD.
Yeah, well, you're my best AD.
Right.
You know, because I listen to you to see what's
absolutely
coming up next,
you hear me.
and does it match what I've got on my script, and if I'm in a position trying to get something done on my end, I know that I have to be somewhere else to get there. You know, 'cause you don't always want to see the movie that's playing in my head.
I do my best to say, hey, heads up, we're changing sides. Ready
Yeah.
to copy? Yeah.
Exactly. But I got to say this, and I'll say it again. I know I'm repeating myself a bit. You're the best voice to hear on the other end. I work with a lot of stage managers, and thankfully my career has progressed where I'm working with the best in the business, in my opinion. And I put you right at the top of that.
That's a great call. There's some good ones out there.
I
man.
just want to say thank you and cheers. Thank you for
Cheers.
being here with me.
You're welcome. Thank you.